Conjuring the Truth, The Real Haunting in Connecticut. In 1986, a seemingly ordinary house in Southington, Connecticut, became the center of a haunting that would shock the nation. Built in the 1920s, it once served as a funeral home, complete with an embalming room in the basement, where life and death intersected in eerie ways. But long before the Snedeker family moved in, this unassuming residence held a chilling secret, much darker than that of just being a former funeral home. The stage was set for a paranormal encounter of unprecedented magnitude. Alan and Carmen Snedeker, in desperate need of affordable housing due to their son Philip's ongoing battle with cancer, decided to move into the Southington home in the spring of 1986. With their lives already in turmoil, they had no way of anticipating the terror that awaited them. Soon after settling in with their 3 sons, Philip, Brad, and Paul, they began to experience unexplained phenomena that would escalate rapidly. The Snedekers' initial encounters were bewildering. The family reported frequent sightings of shadowy figures moving through the house, especially during the night. These apparitions seemed to lurk in corners and hallways, their forms too dark to make out any distinct features. Unexplained odors permeated the house. The most unsettling was the unmistakable scent of rotting flesh, as if the funeral home's morbid history still clung to the walls. The Snedekers experienced extreme fluctuations in temperature within the house. Sudden, bone-chilling cold spots would manifest in the middle of rooms, leaving them shivering in their wake. As their son's condition deteriorated, they clung to the belief that this haunting was a distraction from their heart-wrenching reality. Yet, as the supernatural activity intensified, they could no longer deny that they were living in a nightmare, and it only got worse. Objects began to move on their own. Ominous, disembodied whispers could be heard in all hours of the night, and the family even reported burn marks and scratches resulting from encounters with the entities. Unequivocally, it was Carmen Snedeker who experienced the most. The malevolent entities seemed to have a particular interest in tormenting her. She experienced physical assaults, including scratches and burns, which would appear spontaneously on her body, often taking on disturbing and symbolic patterns. Perhaps the most harrowing experiences involved instances of possession and levitation. On numerous occasions, Carmen and her son, Philip, claimed to be lifted off the ground by unseen forces, their bodies manipulated against their will. The Snedekers were living through a nightmare, trapped in a house that seemed to harbor a malevolent force. These supernatural manifestations defied logical explanation, and the family was increasingly desperate to seek help. The question remained: what dark presence resided within their home, and could they find a way to escape its clutches? Desperate for relief, the Snedekers turned to Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators known for their work on the Amityville horror case. The Warrens launched a comprehensive investigation, bringing with them a team of experts to uncover the truth behind the malevolent forces tormenting the Snedeker family. Their findings would reveal a sinister history buried within the house's walls. As the Warrens and their team delved deeper into their investigation, they discovered the house's gruesome past. The funeral home had been a place of ritualistic embalming, seances, and unspeakable acts performed by morticians who dabbled in the occult. It was as if the very foundation of the house had absorbed the darkness of the past, making it a breeding ground for malevolent entities. With the horrifying truth laid bare, Ed and Lorraine Warren, together with their team of experts, embarked on a mission to confront the malevolent entities that had terrorized the Snedekers. This harrowing endeavor would push their abilities to the limit and test the Snedeker family's resolve. The battle between the living and the dead would reach its climax as the house fought back with a vengeance. The spiritual cleansing. The process began with blessings and prayers intended to create a barrier of positive energy within the house. The Warrens, known for their deep connection to religious practices, invoked the divine to shield the living from the dead. This spiritual reinforcement was essential to prepare for what lay ahead. During the cleansing, the investigators reached out to the malevolent entities dwelling within the house. Their goal was to identify the spirits and understand the depths of their malevolence. Through various techniques, including seances and EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recordings, the investigators made contact with these supernatural forces. As the investigators delved deeper into their efforts, the entities resisted fiercely. They manifested with greater intensity, causing physical harm to the living. Scratches, bruises, and even burns would appear on the bodies of those involved. The battle was no longer confined to the supernatural realm. It had become a physical and spiritual struggle. The malevolent entities also launched psychic attacks on the investigators, attempting to wear them down emotionally and psychologically. The assault on their mental well-being was as relentless as the physical harm they endured. The most climactic part of the cleansing involved exorcism rituals to banish the malevolent spirits once and for all. The Warrens, their team, and a Catholic priest conducted these rites. The house resonated with frenetic energy as the entities fought against their expulsion. While the battle took place predominantly in the spiritual realm, its effects were felt on a tangible level. The house trembled with supernatural forces, and those involved were pushed to the limits of their abilities. After a protracted and grueling struggle, the spiritual cleansing reached its conclusion. The malevolent entities were banished from the house, but not without one final, desperate display of power. The ordeal left the investigators and the Snedeker family emotionally and physically drained. The house was finally free from the sinister presence that had tormented them for so long, but the scars and trauma would endure. Following the spiritual cleansing, the Snedeker family moved away from the house, leaving the horrors behind. The case became the basis for Ray Garton's book, In a Dark Place, the story of a true haunting, which was later adapted into the chilling film, The Haunting in Connecticut. The family had endured a terrifying ordeal, and the scars left by their experiences would remain with them for the rest of their lives. Despite the terror documented in The Haunting in Connecticut, skeptics questioned the authenticity of the Snedeker family's claims. Some suggested that the haunting was a fabrication or an exaggerated tale fueled by the desire for notoriety and financial gain. The controversy surrounding the case still persists, with believers and skeptics locked in a perpetual debate over the events that transpired in that house of darkness. The Haunting in Connecticut left a lasting impact on the world of paranormal investigations and popular culture. It inspired not only a successful 2009 horror film, but also a fascination with the blurred boundaries between the living and the dead. The Snedeker family's ordeal continues to be a source of intrigue and debate, reminding us that some mysteries of the supernatural may never be fully resolved. The story of The Haunting in Connecticut serves as a chilling reminder of the thin veil between our world and the unknown. The family's harrowing experiences will forever haunt the corridors of that house, leaving many unanswered questions. Did the Snedeker family truly encounter malevolent spirits? Or was it a case of psychological distress amplified by a gruesome history? The Haunting in Connecticut may never offer definitive answers, leaving us to grapple with the possibility that the line between the living and the dead is more porous than we dare to admit.